Hello everyone and welcome back to Crack Keys, and we are again back with another part of our history chapter number 1, class 9th mathematics. So let's get started. Our this thing our part is France abolishes monarch and becomes a republic. So let's see. The situation in France continued to be tense during the following years. So after this much struggle also, it was a little bit tense. Although Louis XVI had signed the constitution, he entered into secret negotiations with the King of Prussia. So here Louis XVI accepted the constitution and signed the constitution. But on the other hand, he entered into secret negotiations with the King of Prussia, rulers of other neighboring countries too, because rulers of other neighboring countries were also worried, as France was a republic monarch, so the, their citizens can also protest for these things. So they were also in the tense mood. So King Louis XVI had secret negotiations with the neighboring countries and mostly King of Prussia. So they made plans to send troops to put down the event that had been taking place. This since the summer of 1789. Before this could happen, the National Assembly voted in April 1792 to declare war against Prussia and Austria. Prussia and Austria was two of them. So don't know how, but the National Assembly got to know about these things, and they uh, they uh, they ordered the troops to attack and declare a war against Prussia and Austria in 1792. So, thousands of volunteers from the provinces to join the army. They saw this as a war of people against kings and administrative process. All over the Europe, among the patriotic songs they sang was the Marseillaise. The Marseillaise is a patriotic song, just like this Genganman or this Vande Mataram, I guess, composed by the poet Rochit de Laiz. It was sung for the first time by volunteers from Marseilles as they marched into Paris. So got its name, the Marseillaise. Is the Marseillaise is now the national anthem of France. Okay. So the Revolutionary Wars brought losses and economic difficulties. So there was so much economic difficulty after these Revolutionary Wars. While the men were away fighting on the front, women were left to cope with the tasks of earning a living and looking after their families. So it was a very tense situation at that time, as you can see of the lines they are saying what they are saying. They're saying that men were fighting and women were earning, and whom were doing tasks for earning the livelihood, and large sections of the population were convinced that the revolution had to be carried further, as the constitution of 1791 gave political rights only to the richest section. So the political rights were only to the little this what you call richest section in the 1791 constitution. So political clubs become an important rallying point for people who wish to discuss government policies and plan their own forms of action. So one club was there which was the most successful was the Jacobian Club, which got its name from the convent of Saint Jacob in Paris. Women who had active throughout this period from their own club. So in section 4 we will study about some clubs of women cause. So but here they were here we are going to talk about the Jacobian Club. So the members of the club belong to mainly to the less prosperous society. They include strong stockkeepers, artisans such as shoe makers, pastry girls, watchmakers, printers, as well as servants and railway workers. The leader was Maximilien Robespierre. A large group among the Jacobians decided to start wearing long strip trousers. So they made a same dress for all of them, long strip trousers, and similar to those worn by dock workers. This was said to set themselves apart from the fashionable section of society. So they want to look different from the society, so they do like that. So especially nobles who were knee breeches at okay, so uh, it was a way of proclaiming the end of the power wielded by the wearers of knee breeches. So the nobles, so these Jacobians came to be known as the sans-culottes, as literally meaning those without knee breeches. Sans-culottes man wore in addition the red cap that symbolizes liberty. Women, however, were not allowed to do so. In the summer 1792, the Jacobians planned an insurrection of a large number of Parisians who were angered by the short supplies and high prices of food. So in 1772, Jacobins planned an insurrection of a large number of Parisians uh, who were very angry with the short supplies and high prices of food. On the morning of August 10, they stormed the palace of Tuileries and massacred the king's guard and held the king himself as a hostage for several hours. So, what they did, they were so angry, and one morning of August 10th, they went to the palace of Delirious where the king and the queen were living. So, they got there and killed the guards and held the king to the hostage and made the king hostage for several hours. Later, the assembly voted to imprison the royal family. So, assemblies that imprison this royal family and elections were held from now on all span of 21 years and above. Regardless of who got the right to vote, the newly elected assembly was called the convention. So the newly elected assembly was called convention. Until September 1792, it abolished the monarch and declared France as a republic. As you know, a republic form of government where the people select a government including the head of the country or government. There is no hereditary monarch. You can try and find out some about other countries that are in the republic and investigate when and how they became so. So, Louis XVI was sentenced to death by a court on charge of treason. And so, treason basically means Gaddafi with the country. So, on 21 January 1793, he was executed publicly at the Palace de la Concorde. The Queen Mary intervened with the same fate shortly after. So, on 21 January 1793, he was dead at the Place de la Concorde, and Queen Mary was also dead after a short time. So then comes our another period of terror. The period from 1793 to 1794 is referred to as Reign of Terror. Robespierre followed a policy of self-control and punishment. So this Reign of Terror was under this period was under Robespierre. That Robespierre, the Jacobian Club's leader. Okay, so it was contest, so he declared himself as the leader and he followed a policy of very strict control and punishment. All those whom he saw as being enemies, they killed of the republic. Example: nobles and clergy, members of other political parties, even members of his own party did not agree with his methods. Even his methods were so dangerous that his own party was not interested in following those methods. So he started arresting all of them and imprisoned all of them and then tried by a revolutionary tribunal. If the court found them guilty, they were guillotined. So the guillotine is a device consisting of two poles and a blade, which a person is beheaded. It was named after Dr. Guillotine who invented it. So he just do so. Let me show you guillotine. So it's a machine like this. So guillotine is a device consisting of two poles and a blade with which a person is beheaded. It was named after Dr. Guillotine who invented it. Robespierre government issued laws placing a maximum ceiling on wages and prices. So they issued laws placing maximum ceiling on wages. Meat and bread were rationed, peasants were forced to transport their grain to the cities and sell it at a price fixed by the government. The use of the more expensive white flour was forbidden. All citizens were required to eat the same degalatic equality bread. A loaf made of whole wheat equality was also sought to be practiced in forms of speech and entrance instead of the traditional monsieur and madame. All Frenchmen and women were henceforth citoyens, citizens. Churches were shut down, their buildings converted into barracks or offices. Robespierre pursued his policy so relentlessly that even his supporters began to demand moderation. Finally, he was convicted by a court in July 1794, arrested, and on the next day sent to a guillotine. So, as you can see, he was sentencing people to guillotine, and at 1794 he was also sentenced to guillotine. So, the revolution got mobilized. So, the directory rules France. The fall of the Jacobian government allowed the wealthier middle classes to seize power. So now the wealthier middle classes tried to seize power. A new constitution was introduced which denied the vote to non-property sections of the society. It provided for two electorate legislative councils. These then appointed a directory and executive made up of 5 members. This was meant as safeguard against the concentration of power in one man executive as under the Jacobians. However, the directors often clashed with the legislative council who then sought to dismiss them. The political instability of the directory paved the way for the rise of a military dictator, Napoleon Bonaparte. So now these all things, after these all things, there was a military dictator, Napoleon Bonaparte, who rose up and started to rule the France. So through all these changes, the form of government, the ideas of freedom, of equality before the law, of fraternity remain inspiring ideals that motivate political movements in France and rest of the Europe with the following authority. So this Napoleon Bonaparte was a military dictator, and we will study about him in the fifth part of this chapter. So I guess this part ends here. Yeah. So in the next part, as you can see, did women have a revolution? So we will study about the role of women, what they did in that revolution. Okay. So I guess this chapter, third part ends here. Now we will meet in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye, guys. See you soon.